Do you want to do the intro with your hat, or you want me to do it?
No, you can do it. I'm sitting here looking good.
All right.
You're handsome today.
Yeah.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to episode 51 of the Slightly Serious Sign podcast. This episode is voted number 1 by this massive hat. I don't know why people buy these things, but they're pretty obnoxious. So
this is the best hat in the world right here. Finally, we got a hat that actually fits my head.
Fits your ego, at least.
That's what I meant to say.
Tim Horvath is back with us, sitting next to me here. He was previously on episode 36. So if you want to listen to him there, that was our serious episode. So hopefully this one might not be as serious, or it could be equally as serious. You never know. I wanted to talk about kind of where we think the rap industry is currently going, as well as like tips for new people or people that have been doing it wrong for a long time. So that's kind of our goal. So the question I'm going to start with is the only one I actually wanted to ask you from last time that we didn't get to is, what's your biggest pet peeve for the rap industry?
Well, first off, thank you guys for having me back. I appreciate it. The first episode definitely went off the rockers. Like, we didn't answer any questions that we came on to talk about. And we had so many people messaging us like, oh my God, I was dying laughing. Like, you guys killed it. And it's good to be back. And it's good to finally talk about what we came here to talk about in the first place. So I appreciate it. I'm glad that hat finally fits Mike's head. Hard to get through a door sometimes, but it's all for him. So appreciate it. Episode 51. I'm ready to rock and roll with that. So
sweet. Biggest
pet peeve. See, you want to start with that?
Yeah.
That's where we want to go.
So the whole reason this question got on there is this was 2 times ago. Cause I guess last time was when we were working on the Colex, but the previous time I went in there and I don't even remember what I went in there for. I think I was dropping something off, or I don't remember, but he goes, you know what I think? And then just talked for about, I don't know, a half an hour about this specific topic. And I thought, man, this would have been awesome recorded, because he just kept going and going. And I was like, I don't disagree with you. So
yeah. Well, obviously you catch me in one of those rants. It's hold on tight, Horvath's on the level. So
there's times when you get on the phone with him and he's on one of his rants, you just set the phone down, go outside, get the tractor moved, come back in. He's still ranting. He don't even know I left.
Mow all of your grass.
Yep.
The entire time. All I hear in the background. Yep. So, yeah. What is my biggest pet peeve of this industry right now? Do you want like the highest one? Because the highest one is all the people who have no clue what they're doing and literally showing up on TikTok telling everybody that they're rap professionals. I can't stand that right now. That is like the trend of TikTok. Well, TikTok's not going to be a thing here in a couple days.
That's true. Well, by the time this episode goes live.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be gone. We'll find out.
But on YouTube Shorts or you name it, right? These rap guys who are giving educational videos to people who think that they're rappers. And not that I don't even believe that I'm a rapper half the time, right? I'm learning every day. I think in this industry that every single time you rap something, you learn something new. You learn a new technique. You learn how to be faster. It's all about repetition and doing it. Where nowadays we have all of these kids who are out there giving $1,000 color changes because they think that they're a rap star because they watched some guy who didn't even know what he was doing in the first place.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know when our industry got to that point that it's easier for people to go, well, I can buy that roll of vinyl off from Amazon, we'll say. But then it gets down to a bumper and they're just like, they're calling you going, hey, can you finish my bumper? It drives me absolutely bonkers. Like I have guys come in and I'll say, this is how much it is. And then they'll come back with a roll of vinyl and ask me to install their vinyl and ask me the price. And I tell them it's the same price because I'm going to throw your stuff in the garbage and I'm going to use stuff that works. Like, when did we get to that part of the world where we're like, and it's not just the rap industry, it's everything, but the rap industry, because I'm so involved in it, there is a technique. There is, I was told one time, it isn't about how fast I can put your rap on. It's about how long your rap lasts once I put it on. And I took that to heart. Like that is like my goal is to make sure that there's zero failures on your vehicles. Those TikTok videos do not teach you how to have no failures.
No, we talked about this on another episode. It might have been the episode with you where I'd like to have a nice rap contest, but like you don't pass that stage if I think it's going to fail at all.
Right.
You just don't pass because you got to do it on speed at some point because you got to still make money. But like number one is if it has any failure, you just failed that. You failed that section.
100%.
Like you get no points. Like you don't get points. Oh, it's going to fail here, but you get this many points because you're fast. No, you get 0 points because it's going to fail.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think it's if I'm just looking at like kind of what I've seen the last few years, at least, there was like this complaint of people bringing on employees and then they'd be there for like 6 months and then they would be like, oh, I can just do this myself. And they would leave. Right. So you bring on employees, you train them, and then they would leave and try and do it themselves. And we've gone a whole step further than that. And we're getting to the point where they're not even getting hired, right? They're just literally going to be like, yeah, I saw like 5 YouTube videos. I think I'm going to start a rap shop and be like, no, you have no idea what you're doing.
And they're literally getting to that point where rap shops have maybe 1, maybe 2 installers. But then outside of that, there are all these travel installers, right? And these travel installers are pricing themselves what the shops should be charging, and they're getting all the money, and they're like, well, you need me because I'm in a pinch. And then you see some of their work and you're just like, you're not even, I don't care the certification. I get they have all the classes. You guys know, every one of my employees has come through here in a rap class. I don't need a little certificate that says that they did it. I tell them, go wreck all their stuff. Don't wreck mine. Like, take the 2 days and they're there to teach you, right? I don't care about the piece of paper that says you're 3M certified, you're Avery certified, whatever it is. I care about you going out and learning every single time you touch it. You see some of these travel installers, like I can't guarantee you that it's my quality through a travel installer. You just got to hope. And it's like, because you got YouTube trained.
Yeah.
And I'm YouTube trained. When I started this company, I didn't know anything about anything. I learned and I failed. But you do a travel installer, they don't even hold accountability. They just, oh, not my problem. You can pay me to go do it again. Like, no, that's not how this industry should work.
Yeah.
This industry
you have to keep learning. I actually learned something from Tyler's video. And I thought, I wasn't going to say this because like I feel really stupid. But the new 3M stuff,
I meant to tell you this. That was funny. That was the
3M
first thing
stuff.
I noticed when we did it.
It's the PPF stuff, right?
PWF
stuff. We tried it and I'm like, man, this is hard. Like it doesn't stretch at all. It's really hard. Turns out it has a cap liner on it that doesn't stretch.
It's like a rigid cap sheet.
Okay.
I didn't know it. I'm like, this stuff sucks. And I was like, and then when he said that, I'm like, oh my goodness, that's why it sucked.
Literally
so, I didn't know.
So we just did a video on PDF. I went out to Steve Carney in Orlando and did the video with him. And the first thing he did was he's like, yeah, it doesn't stretch until you peel the cap sheet off. Be like, I feel like you should just say that on the box, like at this point, because like 2080,
we did
like
it wrong for a day.
Every other film on the market comes with a cap sheet that you can leave on.
Right.
So why would you send one and not make that the most obvious thing in the world that like, hey, you got to peel it off.
Like it's a different color.
Why would you tell us? Yeah. Make us take it off. And yeah, apparently they didn't do that.
Yeah, as soon as I saw your video and I saw that, as soon as you peeled it, it doesn't stretch till you peel it. I'm like, I bet my face was like bright red. Like I was angry. Like, why didn't anybody tell us?
Yeah.
Like we tried it at open house stuff and stuff like that. Like that stuff sucks.
That's our conversation, right? Like this rap industry, I always tell people it's relatively new. Like, and when you talk industries that have been around for hundreds of years, like the rap industry is really, 30 years old, maybe the rap industry, so every day the technology is getting better. these people don't tell you about that. There's nobody out there trying to help you be better by giving you some knowledge. They're literally telling you, making it look like they're somebody that they're really not, you know? And that's that pet peeve that I have, because it's like, yesterday I got a phone call from a buddy of mine, and we talked about this in the first episode about companies that I have worked with that have taught me things. Why we call you guys. It was said by Kayla in the office the other day, call Tyler. Tyler will fill you in on anything. I had a shop call me yesterday, and they were talking to me, and I'm like, anytime you need something, call me. We're not competition. We're supposed to be building each other. We're supposed to be better. And I feel like, oh, I'm the best. Not one rapper in the country is the best, in all honesty, because as soon as that person becomes the best, the technology changes and somebody's already there on top of them. So I feel like if you say, these group of people, these people are good at this and build this and do this and have each other's back, I think this industry would really blow up. The problem is they're so against each other. I mean, a shop like mine can't even get an Amazon account because they hire these accounts that never wrapped a vehicle a day in their life. They're just really good at picking up a phone and getting these wrap guys to use this wrap. They call me trying to use my shop to wrap Amazon vehicles. They don't want nothing else but my shop. They don't want me to print the vinyl. They don't want me to install the vinyl, and we're paying people like that. And it's like, this industry could be so much better if we all stuck together and really built each other to be better. And instead we train kids over TikTok with guys who've never done it before.
I think the other thing you're running into when you go back to like these travel installers is the companies like yours and like any of the big shops, right? They'll have like somewhere you can go to find out about them, right? So they're going to have Google reviews or Facebook reviews. These travel installers have nothing, right? It's just like they could do a horrible job and there's no way to find out unless someone posts about it on Facebook group and you happen to see it and do a mental note like, hey, don't ever hire blank person. Right. But even that, like you would have to see it. Like you can't just like go and look them up. You're just like, I hope this works out. Yeah. So there's zero accountability, right? There's zero accountability on the front end to know if they're skilled, and there's zero on the back end if it fails to go back on them because it's not like a
sounds like a good gig to me. Actually, I could probably do that. That's what I said.
That's the joke I made to him when we talked about the first time.
I can heat and mash all day long.
But that's what that's exactly it, right? Like all of these guys, like we say, they work for a shop for how long, and then they're like, oh, I can do this by myself. Well, at least they worked for a shop. But in all honesty, like working for a shop, what happens when that fails? Like for me, we take pride in our stuff. So if it fails, we're out there replacing it. We had a talk about window perf, and we've been battling this window perf thing. And it's like, I can take responsibility. Once you hire a guy outside, they don't take any responsibility. That's on you. You're in trouble. Like it is so difficult that heat and mash we've talked about. Like that's real life. These people, that's what they make.
Yeah, you heat it up enough, it'll get in there.
It'll stay there for 24 hours.
Yeah, we talked about this at the last RapsCon we did. So we had a van door, right? So it had the channel in it, and we had people do them blindfolded. And some people real good, right? They're super familiar with doing channels, right? Heat it the right direction, get it, slowly work it in there. And then we got other people to just heat it and just literally just smash it in there. And then you find out that they've got a shop with like 3 guys, right? And like, this is their number. You're like, even if theoretically, right, you only do color change, right? So you don't do vans, you never have done channels, right? This is still the same application as so many other things on regular vehicles, right? Like if you have a deep recess, like on a bumper or anything like that, you've been doing it wrong. Like that is failing for sure on your customer's vehicle. And maybe they don't notice or know, or you don't care enough, or you just like, oh yeah, we'll fix it. And you just keep doing it the same way every 6 months and be like, yeah, this just is the way it is, right? Yeah. Primer 94, let's sucker, let's stay down.
We were at a shop. It was me and Tony in Detroit, and he was talking about the same thing, and I respect this guy that does it. He said, they came in, asked me to do a bumper, and he said, well, I'm going to have an inlay here. I'm going to have an inlay here. I'm going to have an inlay here because otherwise it's going to fail. And they're like, he's like, well, I want it all the same color. Or I want it all one piece. He said, go down the street. The guy will heat and mash it in there for you.
Yeah.
He said, but it'll fail, but he'll get it done in one piece. He said, I'm not doing it in one piece. I'm going to put inlays because then it won't fail.
Hey, you can do it in one piece. You just need about a 4-inch brush and primer 94, dude. It's never coming up.
So
is their paint, though. If you ever need to remove it, the vinyl's not coming up either.
That's the thing, right? Like the heat and mash, and we do a lot of motorsports and race cars, and the nose of a super late model is plastic. And so like all these guys, we were doing them one piece, and we were talking to them, and it would last a race, and then it would be popping up everywhere. And I'm like, I got to change this. So then I started doing them in quarters, and they can get 6-7 races out of them, depending on the driver. And they're like, I went down to the Snowball Derby this year, and we focused on giving back to the people who are installing, the people who are designing the cars. We had just under 1 million views on our social media on giving back to like the guys wrapping these race cars. And we'd sit and talk with them, and I'm literally training guys in the shop how to do those noses, because they're like, well, we're having this problem and that problem. I'm like, yeah, you guys really don't understand enough like about the vinyl. So I talked to them, and now we're doing quarters, and they're getting 7-8 races out of them. And when you're running into people and you're driving a race car and it's hitting that plastic, but I tell every one of them, you don't want to pay me to redo your nose every single week. You want to pay me to do the nose until your driver takes it off, you know? And I feel like that's everybody like, you should be able to do that in one piece. I go, I can, but that does not make it work. I need to be able to do it properly so that it actually holds up against time, you know?
Yeah.
And that's why me and you guys talk about it often is race cars aren't my moneymaker. But race cars are what train my guys how to do it correct on the fleet vehicles and the cars, because we can learn those things. We're designing a car for Daytona right now. Like that's 200 miles an hour, and we're looking at that car going, okay, did this hold up? Did this hold up? Like, how did this work? Even when they crash, we're over there dissecting the vinyl to make sure that it did its job.
Yeah, I think I've been dealing with Rahal Letterman Lanigan Racing, the Indy cars, and the amount of and at some point he'll come on to this podcast and you'll get to hear it. Yeah, that sounds good. He'll come on and he'll talk about kind of what goes into this, but the insanity that is how much goes into making sure that car has no drag when they're wrapping them is unbelievable, right?
Unreal.
So, like to give you an example, like this is the level of like people that are in this industry are really thinking about what's going into the cars, right? He had to come in, he laid vinyl, and then they had used a micron meter to measure the distance between the two panels. And then they came back the next day and repainted one of the panels, sanded it down. So it was the exact, so basically it's 3 mils less than it needs to be, and then put the vinyl on, and then it's exactly the same, right?
Yep.
But someone who's been, like you, that's not a job you can just be like, yeah, let's bring in a travel installer and wrap an Indy car, right? That's not going to happen.
That doesn't work.
And, but that's what's happening now is we're just getting people that don't know what they're doing, and they're coming in and underbidding everybody because they're like, my overhead is nothing. I have no shop, no insurance. It's just me, right? If I make $100 today, dude, that's a good day. $100, 100 times 365 days a year, dude, that's okay. I'll live. And, that's what we're competing with. And it's those failures look bad for everybody. Like I don't remember who said it. It was one of the old, it was either 3M or Avery reps said, the best way to sell wraps in this industry is a good wrap. And the fastest way to make sure no one ever wraps the car again is a poor install. Because if you get a poor install, you're never going to do it again. You'd be like, why would I do that? That was awful. Like the whole experience was awful. The price was awful. The look was awful. And if you get a really good one, like people will just get more, right? Like if somebody is driving down the road and sees a sweet wrap, they're gonna be like, I need that for my business too. But if they see a horrible one, nobody looks at a lettered vehicle, right? And was like, you know what? I need to wrap my car. But
and the hard part is, right, is there's more of those bad wraps out there than there is 100%. Those good wraps because there's more people. Now I came from learning, right? I had to start somewhere. That's everybody. but we can't keep turning out and being like, well, we're rappers. And like, those videos that, well, I'm a rapper because I do that. Like, you can't be that way. You really, if you want to be in this industry, you have to understand that there's, number one, you're not perfect. You're never going to be perfect. Number two, that you're going to learn every single time you have a car. I can do the same car a million times. I'm going to find 5 seconds here and 5 seconds there to be faster, to be better. Materials. We talk materials all the time, right? You get a new material, the new technology comes out. You don't understand the cover sheet. Like, that's happening more.
Thanks for picking on me again.
Well, my favorites today, I looked up a thing and it jumped up and it said colored PPF. And I'm like, why are we saying colored PPF? Isn't that just rap material? Like, what are we doing here as an industry? Like, sometimes I feel like we go down the wrong road, and sometimes we're going down the right road to be better, like a cover sheet, so that we don't have to get those scratches out of the laminate or, things of that nature. But like some of these things like colored PPF, that is, for whoever's does that, that's never, ever, ever going to work unless you had the same color car underneath of it. Like,
yeah. So this is the one thing, not the one thing, but one of the main things with 3M that I appreciate is that, like, I always tell people, like, Arlon and Avery, beep,
beep.
all of them would be nowhere without 3M. Like, all they're doing is taking the products that 3M is making and then they're innovating on them, right? So I'm not saying they're making the same product, right? Like, 1105 is a different product than IJ180, but if IJ180 never came out, we never get 1105, right? They spend all the money to do it up front. So when 3M comes out with PWF, they're calling it protection wrap film. So they're not calling it PPF because it's just them being honest, right? This is not a PPF product, right? This is a color changed film, but it's a more protective version than the previous one, right? Yep. But these other companies are coming in and they don't care at all, right? They're going to call it colored PPF and someone's going to buy it and be like, yeah, this is a protection film. Be like, it's not protecting anything. Like, it's not thick enough. Like, test it. It's not working. Like, right. I don't know if you've done this. And that's just what's going on with the industry. It's just, one is on the installer side and then two is on the material side, where we're just getting the most random new material every day. Every day I log into Facebook and look at Wrap Room or any of those and it's, hey, have any of you tried blank? And it's some film I've never heard of. And you'd be like, if I haven't heard of it, who's someone who like, this is what I do, right? Be like, no, right. That's the answer. I don't know what to tell you. The answer is no.
I like the stops. Okay, we stop there. Hey, we go to talk about film. I only use this film. I'm like, what is that film? And then you come back in 2 months, you drive by the shop to see if he's still using that film. Not there.
Yeah.
Gone.
Yeah. Oh,
and it's not by choice.
What happened? And everything you put on failed. That's what happened.
My favorite, because I'm obviously involved in a lot of these Facebook groups and like try to keep up, same thing that we talk about often. And my favorite is when they post something about a race car. And they're like, what's everybody using for race cars? We need to make sure we're the cheapest. And I'm like, you're in the wrong industry. Like, if you're over here trying to get the cheapest, I just found one, I forget the name of it. And they're like, they literally were blasting out, oh, we love this. This works so good for race cars. And it's like, you guys continue to just find the cheapest stuff you can, put them on race cars. And then when it fails, you're looking for the next cheapest thing. I'm like, that doesn't work. And that's continues on. Like, all the 3M started it. We all know that. Other companies have come in and made it better and worked at it, which is probably only 3 companies. And then there's about 100 other companies that you've heard of. And you're like, yeah, I tried that once. Like, bad idea.
Yeah.
I don't even use that on trophy stuff or like, plaque stuff or anything. You just can't. I can't afford that.
Nothing's funnier than seeing a golf sign. They just made it and it's already peeling.
Oh.
Like, nothing's funnier. Like, okay, what did you use?
Right.
Yeah.
Like,
how do you mess it up?
I mean, how do you mess that? It only has to be out for a day. And it went from cold in the morning to hot to back to cold. And your sign's falling apart. Like, you just want to just get up there and hit it with the golf club and like, who made this?
Yeah.
What did you use?
If you're a customer, if you heard somebody say, hey, I tried, and they list IJ180, 1105, SLX Plus, or even any of the stuff, any of their wrap films, and they're like, yeah, it didn't work. That's not a shop I'm going to use, right? All of those will work.
Right.
You 100% can install with any of those films. And if it's like, hey, we tried it and it didn't work, it's like, no, you didn't know how to do it, right?
Yeah.
And maybe you found one that you can get to work, but you should be able to use all of those, right? Like any of the big names that are doing, RapsCon and that kind of stuff.
And then you have your preference.
They're taking whatever film they can get and they'll install it. It doesn't make any difference to them. They'll have a preference, right? I mean, like you are picking the one that you like to use the most. But if we gave you any of the other ones, it would go on, right, and you wouldn't look lost out there. You wouldn't be like, I don't know how to use this one. But there is some where it's if you're just finding the material that kind of works within your skill set that you have, that's where the problem is, right? With race cars, the problem is they can't get to stick, right? So like, I'm looking for the highest tack vinyl I can possibly find, because then I know it's going to stay down, right?
My favorite in the race industry is, oh man, your stuff's super thin, and this other guy, he has the best stuff. It's super thick. And I'm like, as a matter of fact, your guy who's selling you the super thick stuff is not telling you the correct information, because the thin stuff is to go around the curves that are on your race car. Yeah. You can use the super thick stuff if you're going to do a 4x8 sheet of aluminum.
Yeah.
But if you're going around curves and going into channels, you have to use something thinner to get it to form to those.
Yeah.
And they're like, no, my guy has better stuff than you. Okay. Tell your guy I said hi.
Yeah.
And when he's out of business, you'll be calling,
You almost want to say the name, but you don't say the name. Like, you know who it is, right?
Yeah,
like,
oh yeah. Yeah. 100%.
That's what's even crazy.
There's one of the guys that's at the counter that everybody in the industry knows this guy can't rap for crap. Hopefully he doesn't listen to this, because he knows I saw him at the counter. But he's at the counter. I just kind of roll my eyes like, oh, here we go again. Another failure coming.
Yeah. Hey, good for business for you guys though. See, you guys used to love when I didn't know what I was doing, because I wrecked a lot of vinyl.
I like when printers don't work and cutters don't work, and like, hey, I gotta need another one. I screwed it up again. Or
and installs fail. Preferably the bigger the better, right? Yeah. Instead of paneling semi trucks, I want you to mess up the whole thing, right? 60 inches by 55 feet long. The whole thing messed up.
It was Ron. Was it Ron?
Ron.
He passed away, right?
Yep.
Yeah, rest in peace. But he was your best employee for us.
Yeah. Oh, damn straight. Bubbles. We used to call him Bubbles.
Yeah. He was the best. He was the best employee you ever had for us.
I tell you what, Ron was in here all the time getting new.
He was awesome.
Oh, he was so awesome. I miss him every single day. But you want to know
he's
something?
always smiling too. He'd come in and he screwed up bad. He knew. He'd still be smiling. Hey, I messed it up again. He knew.
Oh, Timmy's not happy with me. He would have that smirk and his caterpillar on his lip, and he'd be like, oh, there goes Bert, And, he was your best employee by far for us. Yeah, there's no doubt. Ever since, him and I went, he actually was one of our, up until the day he passed away, he was still one of our biggest supporters. And like, he loved what we did, right? And he was just old school. He didn't know, he'd never got on to the installing it. And, there was one time, and we tell this story all the time, is he literally this is when we layered vinyl. This is before it was wraps, and we layered, and I did this whole number with Elmo in it, and it was like 8 colors, and it was super intricate, and I did this whole thing, and I get a photo from Billy Eppink, who's the driver, and he goes, dude, and this is like his first install, and he's like, dude, things are looking really awesome, except for I think your install guy's been drinking. And I was like, what? And I'm looking at it, and the number is upside down. This is a real life story. And I go, Ron, the number's upside down. And he goes, an 8's an 8. And I go, not when there's an Elmo in the side of it. Like, damn it.
Listen, every shop out there needs a Ron.
Yeah. Oh, 100%.
If everybody's shop had a Ron, man, we'd make a lot more money too.
So much vinyl.
Oh man, here I am.
So much vinyl.
I have to redo this entire number, and he just smile at me and be like, "Well, we're out of this color. I'll go to Wensco." Okay, thanks, Ron.
The story's that much funnier because we know him. Yeah. Like, I can see him doing that. I can see him like flipping it over. Like,
yeah. Well, it's funny because
hey, Mike, I need some more orange.
Well, it's even funnier because the rollover table that we have inside the shop, I always called that Ron's replacement. Like the entire time when he still worked for me, I go, as soon as I get one of these rollover tables, you're going to be replaced by it. And I'd tell him this all the time. Well, when just before he had passed away, he came into the shop, and it was when you guys just had brought the second rollover table to us, and he goes, it takes two of these sons bitches to replace Ron. And I'm like, ain't that the truth, brother? Yeah. And it was cool to, that was my last interaction with him before he passed away. And I'll hold that forever. And so when he did pass away, our employees now know all of our employees. They know the horror stories. They know the love that they shared with us. And Chase walked up to me after we heard that we lost Ron, and Chase goes, does this mean we get to name the rollover table Ron's replacement? And I go, damn straight. So we have a tag on there that says Ron's replacement. So super cool. Thanks for bringing him up, man. That's cool. You know, but that's it, right? Like we talked about all these people, all these installers, all these things, right? But for me, like a Ron, he taught me so much in so many different ways. It may not have been the vinyl because he was good for you guys on that side of things, but I have so many stories with that guy that we did so many things. He helped build my company, and that's the difference. I think if some of these kids went out and put some of that time and effort into a shop and really understood it, like, I think that would be a huge thing. We got great people at HDFive right now. And like, I tell them every single day, I'll sell you the company if you think it's that great of a deal, or we can work together and blow this thing up to huge levels. And that's, I always tell them that, because in all honesty, owning a wrap shop is very difficult. It is tough to be the leader of something or do something right. I think you guys have always been on me about that. Tim, just do it right the first time. And that's our motto. So when you have these installers that come in and I see them and I'm like, no, that was fun. I'm glad I hired you one time. Yeah. And now I'm not ever going to hire you again. Like, if those kids put that energy into a shop, you would have some pretty cool wrap shops out there.
Yeah. So I won't say who this is, but if you're an installer and you're thinking about like going out on your own, I had one of the bigger shops that we know of tell me what he was paying his two main installers. And you can make a lot of money just working for somebody that has a big shop. That's all I'll say about it. And they are obviously super talented, right? So that's a key, right? You can't just go in and ask for $1 billion when you're not worth $1 billion. No. But if you get really good at it and you can find somebody who has more than enough work for it, they will pay you well. I'm sure they will, because they need people. And they're sick of losing people. So that's why they're paying as much. And that's not everybody, right? You're not going to go into just a random sign shop down the road, right? And ask for, hey, can I make $100,000 a year wrapping cars? They can be like, you're out of your mind. Right. But there is probably places where that is an option, right? Where they're like, we need people. And if you're good enough, we have enough work for you, right? Yeah. And it's going to be, you're good enough and fast enough. Both of those have to come hand in hand, which is what we talked about earlier, right? Not just fast enough and not just good enough. Yep. If you're both though, right? If you're doing a commercial van in 8 hours, there's a lot of shops that would like to hire you. If you're doing a commercial van in 8 hours, well, I should specify. Right. There's a boatload of shops that would like to hire you. So, obviously you think going on your own, I can make, $1,000 doing wrap, sweet. I only need to do, 100 of them a year. That's a lot. I don't know if you know this, but to bring in 100 jobs and to wrap 100 jobs, and that takes two people, right? That takes somebody to run the business and somebody to wrap the cars. Right. And I think you just think, oh yeah, I know enough. And then you do 10 cars and you're like, I'm out. I got nothing left. Well, for us, like us at our shop, like we have no problem training kids. Like we have race cars. We can take a razor blade to the side of a race car. Chances are the driver's going to do something worse than the razor blade ever did, So we have ability to train these kids and properly train them, send them over we give them a crash course. And then after that crash course, we'll send them to like you guys, right? And then they already kind of know, but they learn little tips and tricks. But like for us, we tell everybody, I go, there's two ways you can look at this. You can get paid X amount and I pay for everything that you're going to screw up, because you're going to screw up a lot. Or I can pay you X amount
because you think you're good enough, and you're going to pay for every mistake that you make. And so when I talk to them, 99 out of 100 times, they're going to make me pay for the mistake.
Yeah.
You know, and I think that's like these guys who come in and say, well, I got 5 years of rap experience. Well, you have 5 years of not good rap experience.
Yeah.
If you take 5 years of good rap experience and learning how to do it, you're going to be in that higher, you're going to start making that money that you're asking for. But it's going to take you 3 to 5 years to actually know how to wrap a vehicle and wrap it well enough for somebody to make money off from it.
Yeah. I don't know where I heard this, but it's really stuck with me is when somebody says they have X amount of years of experience, the question is, do you have 5 years of cumulative experience, or do you have 5 years of 1 year experience? Meaning you've been making the same mistakes for 5 years, right?
Yep.
That's not 5 years of experience, right? That's just, you've been doing this for 5 years wrong versus I've been doing this for 5 years and have learned that entire time. And I think a lot of people have 5 years of 1 year experience, right? They were still heat and mashing. They haven't changed, right?
No.
They don't care.
No.
And especially when you're doing like travel installers, right? Because they're not even dealing with the customers, right? Like when it fails, they might not even hear about it because it's not even worth reaching out to them.
Yeah.
So
Amazon is not calling any wrap shop to tell them that it failed.
Yeah.
They're not,
I think a lot of commercial places aren't. Like when you drive down the road, like, and just like channels is the main one for me. Just like drive down the road and look at the channels of these vans. Like it's in the minority for them to not be popped. If we're lucky, they cut and dropped it.
So we travel a lot, obviously, right? Chase and I have a lot of windshield time together. You wouldn't believe how many times where you guys have this same thing, driving down the road and it's like, that's crooked. Look at that. Like we'd speed up and like Chase would be dozing off or something. I'd slam on the brakes and be like, you got to see this, you know, like it is to me to see some of these wraps. So you're just like,
yeah,
they let that go.
I mean, like a perfect example of this is when I just went down to Orlando, I'm leaving the airport and, gloss red Cybertruck passes me on the highway, and the back,
it's wrapped.
Yeah, obviously.
Yep.
And from what I can see, looks good. I mean, it's not hard to wrap, so it'd be hard to mess it up. Passes me, and I'm thinking, wow, the red kind of looks good, right? It's the first time I've seen a red one. Passes me on the back. There's a QR code that says "Rent Me" on the back. That's all it says. It says "Rent Me" with a QR code. Crooked. You're telling me you paid somebody to wrap your Cybertruck, and then my guess is you put the QR code on yourself.
Yes, probably.
Yeah. Like you paid somebody, I mean, at least a couple thousand, maybe. It was Orlando, so it could have been $500.
Right.
But you paid somebody a couple $1,000 to wrap, and then you put the QR code on crooked on the back. Like, you realize how that looks?
My favorite is the do-it-yourselfers that leave the clear app tape over top of their stickers. I just want to jump out at a red light and just yank the app tape off and be like, got you.
The back windshield they're talking.
Yeah.
Where they have the clear square still on there.
Yeah, and it's peeling up on the edges.
I just saw one. You know, the Subarus have like the American flag for the side.
Yeah.
I just saw someone that had the American flag on there with the clear app tape still on it, and it was over the molding on the window. And I'm just like, they tried to even tuck it in the other side of the window, and it's like, dude, that part comes off, like, and
you just want to yank it.
You just want to pull it right off, like, dude, this part comes off, like, this is
so funny. You can just tell.
I had bought that on Amazon and put it on, like, then they try to figure out how to tuck it in the.
I saw it was it was Long Beach. That's where it was. They had obviously like one of the whatever it is, the shops that sell stickers, and they had the app tape on there. The back was printed that showed you like how to apply, and it was like peel off stick, peel off top layer, and I was like, you guarantee whoever printed that thing they just doing the same thing. We were walking around like, are you serious they left that on there? Be like, I guess it's not that obvious. You have to peel it off. Like, I guess I'm gonna have to tell people now, like, hey, peel that off.
To us, it's funny. Like, well, even how many times we walked in a place and seen Alpha Pan on the back of their sign? Like, they didn't even peel out. Like, just peel the backer off. Like, dude, like it's nice and white on the other side.
I did a sign for a buddy down the street from the shop, and I was like, here you go, come pick it up. He's like, love it. I drive by a sign every single day, and it's double-sided sign, but in the center, there's no cap on it. And I can read the Alpha panel every time, every morning I go to work, and I'm like, I told him, and he goes, yeah, it looks good to me.
The one is the new Chinese place in Alpine had a sheet of Alpha panel in their window for years.
Yes.
6-7 years. You walked in, it was the first thing you saw because it was facing the lobby. So when you walked in, before you got to the lobby, the back side of the sign was facing you in the window, and you could just see Alpha Panel
So
by Wensco.
every person that left that place, the backside was showing. So every person that left saw Alpha Panel by Wensco. Literally everybody that left that place for a couple of years.
Yeah, so Ron wasn't the number one guy. There's other people.
There's other people.
Okay.
We love those people.
And then one of the, I can't remember what school this was. They had put Alpha Panel as like the baseball advertising signs, but they're inside facing, right? So the sign is facing the inside, but if you drive around the ballpark, it just says Alpha Panel on the back.
Over and over and over.
Yeah, like just repeated.
Nice.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
Who doesn't peel these off? And I appreciate it.
Yeah. I mean, peel it off. It's nice, bright white. Like, but
We'll take it.
We'll take it. We'll take it.
Yeah.
Free advertisement.
Yeah, so we did it again. We're 45 minutes in.
Oh, 45 already?
We did one question.
All right. Let's go to the next question.
So I'm not even going to go to the
Welcome
other ones.
to
It's going to take us to the Wensco podcast. I'll go through the, you asked about the rapid fire ones last time because you read through them. So I'll just go through some of those to give people an idea of some of the other questions I was going to ask. So this gives you an idea where we're headed with rapid fire was like kind of where advice for new shops, advice for new people getting into the industry. And I think we
did
covered,
that already. Yeah.
We covered a lot of that. Like,
Yep.
I think the best bit of advice, I think universally, and even though the Facebook pages, I think are all like unanimously agreeing on this, is like, just go work for a good shop. I should specify that as well. Like, go work for a good shop. If you're going to go work for a place that doesn't have an installer and they just want one, that's not going to be a good spot for you to learn.
You know how many installers I've talked to that lost the love of vinyl wraps because they worked for a bad shop?
Yeah.
Like I've heard it more times than I've heard people who worked for somebody and it just wasn't working out. Like literally like worked for a bad shop and that bad shop has made them fall out of love with vinyl wraps.
Yeah.
And that's hard for me to hear because I'm like, man, I wish you would have showed up here.
And that goes for any industry.
Yeah.
100%.
Like if you're at a bad business, get out.
Right.
Yeah.
Like go work someplace else and do your research outside of work too. Like not enough people do it. Like, oh, I just learn at work. No, take your time, learn outside of work, and then try to apply it. And then if it doesn't apply, ask questions.
You know, and
like,
that's,
I love those
that's
employees.
tough, right? Like for me in my shop, like I talk about my team often. Like I do a lot of really cool things. I hand out a lot of really cool awards, but I literally talk about my shop often. And that culture inside my shop, we touched on it a little bit last episode. But that culture, you know, when you walk in there, you guys know you can call us up and we'll laugh at ourselves. Like I try to keep that culture because it is a high stress job. There's a lot of times these guys need these vehicles back on the road as fast as possible. So you have to manipulate your schedule to take care of customers.
Yeah.
And it's like, if you don't work for a shop that can laugh at themselves, you're never going to make it in this industry. It's way too hard for that. So you have to build that culture of like, I mean, literally just before I came to this show, I was talking and Chase had stopped me and goes, "Hey, Timmy, I got to tell you something." And I was like, "What's up?" And it's like, Gavin went on a date last night. And I go, "I don't have time for this." And I just literally walked out because I knew it would be an hour conversation about what happened with Gavin and his date last night. And we died laughing. And they're like, "Go to the show. We'll be back and talk about it." So as soon as I get back, I got to talk about this date that Gavin went on.
You should have brought Gavin. We could have talked about it right now.
Oh my goodness. Yeah.
We could have analyzed the whole thing right now.
He was very quiet about it because he
did not want to talk about it.
Yeah. So, and anybody who knows Gavin, he moved up here from Indianapolis to work for us. He's going to college here. He's a 20-year-old kid who has experience in life, but not Horvath experience of life. And the kids over here, now he's going on dates and we're just like, oh man, I can't wait to talk about this on the show. So no, but awesome kid. You guys both have met him. Yeah. And it's like, you know, that's that culture. We want to know your personal life. We're cheering you on your personal life and we're cheering you on in your business life as well. And I think that's the difference between a good shop and a bad shop.
Yeah. And he's a good example of like, you can definitely train someone to do wraps well. I mean, you guys did those, what was the black truck?
The Tecton trucks.
Yes. So they took white like UPS style trucks is the best way I can explain it, right?
Snap-on truck, yeah.
So that's what they are. They're tool trucks, and they took white trucks and turned them completely black. You would think they were painted. And I still think it's hilarious. We talked about this when we quoted the job that you said, I don't know why they didn't just paint the truck, because the graphics are like 8x4 maybe?
Yeah, something like that.
And the rest of the track is just black vinyl.
Yeah, the graphics are literally like spot graphics that are like just a couple pictures of tools, says Tecton on it. Like their in-house designers designed it. And I'm like, you guys should just get this truck painted this color. Well, that was like 9 to 10 months out. And I was like, all right, we'll wrap it. But when we all wrapped it, it was a team that wrapped it. It was all of us that wrapped it. And you came in and literally was like, I swear you painted that thing. Yeah. Like it was spectacular.
I would have thought it was a painted truck, except for the fact that he had messaged me about it it was a while before that. It was like 6 weeks prior. And I pulled up and one of the trucks was parked outside, and I thought, holy crap, they actually did one of these trucks. So I walked all the way around the truck, and I was like, wow, that is insane. You can't see there's no white visible on the truck.
Yeah. That was
I went in and he said, did you check the rivets? And he said, because Gavin did them. And I thought he was making a joke that they failed. That's what I literally thought the joke was going to be, that they had messed up a bunch of the rivets. But he's like, no, he did all the rivets, which was a lot of them. It's a lot on a whole truck to do them was a lot. And he did all of them. And he was not there that long at that time, I don't think.
No. So the funny part is you remember Noah, who worked for me, right? Yep. So my buddy Noah, he now works in Holland. His life wasn't here in Grand Rapids, so he moved on to Holland. And he had told me one time, he goes, you know what the craziest part that I ever learned from here is I was like, yeah, what's that? He goes, I don't understand why we never do rivets, because when I started here, you used to give me a squeegee and you would wrap the vehicle, the race car at the time, and I would have to go around every single rivet of that race car. And then once we got to a point, you just stopped doing rivets. I go, we never had to. We just had to teach you how to use a squeegee. Like literally, like he noticed that we never go around rivets unless it's a big vehicle and you have those hands and you need to train somebody. And that's like our goal. You don't need to do that if you're good at what you do. But if you have a kid that needs to learn, we can have them do every rivet. Now, Gavin probably never wants to do another rivet in his life after that Tecton truck, but I mean, that's here nor there.
But he
still will.
Yeah. We'll put him on
the next track. Yeah, when it shows up.
He's either going to do it or he's going to come on the podcast, talk about his date. That's his choices.
He's going to come on the podcast.
He's got two choices.
Or come on the podcast looking for a new job. Like, they only let me do rivets. If anyone will let me do, I don't know, the sides of the car, I'm all in.
The worst part is if he comes in here looking for a new job, Mike's going to look at him and go, you ever meet Ron? Because you're going to go still work for Horvath, but we're going to teach you how to make us money.
Yeah, that's exactly right. I should plan an employee in every shop that we have, actually.
We should find the poor installers and start referring them to the busy shops.
Yeah, that's what exactly
right. Every single person who comes here to work and then it's just not working out, be like, hey, we're gonna give you a promotion. You're gonna go over to this shop.
Yeah. So the thing I was gonna bring up when we were talking earlier about working for bad shops, I was gonna bring up sometimes we do rap classes. And you get somebody who's been doing this, like we talked earlier, they have 10 years of 1 year experience, right? Where it's like, you do this wrong and we cannot physically get you to do it right. Like there's nothing in our power that's going to show you how to do this. But then I was going to say, what I need to do is find those people and just start referring them to my busy shops. Be like, hey, you know what? I know you work for this. You should go over here. They're really busy. They need a lot of help. And then we'll sell like 12 kits in 1 week and then you'll fire them. And I'll be like, worth it. You'll never take my advice again. You'll never take my advice again, but it paid off.
Why is Horvath ordering pallets on top of pallets again? We sent Bill over there.
He took my new hire. I think some people have been doing it a while. You're never going to train them out of their old ways either. So that's why bringing someone in like Gavin, someone young that you can show them how to do it right. It's easier to show somebody who has no experience how to do it right than it is someone that's been doing it forever. How to do it differently.
Right. Yep.
And I think we've seen so many classes where someone's like, yeah, I've been doing this a long time. Be like, how many vehicles have you put out there? Because it's got to be bad.
We have one guy that is remote for us right now. And he was in the office and then the pressures build, and especially when we get into certain times. And he's doing some remote design for us and whatnot, but so he's not gone, but he's not at the shop. And the other day, him and I kind of sat down and had a talk, and he goes, and we had that conversation. It was hard for him to let go of his old ways and listen to younger guys help him. And he literally came in my office and he goes, dude, I miss it so much. He goes, I never realized how much I learned if I just let myself learn. And to me, that's everything, right? We get stuck in our ways, and that's the way we do things. But in all honesty, it doesn't matter if you're 100 years old or 12 years old. You can learn from everybody something. And if you don't have that mindset, you're not worth it to me or anybody, because like for me, I learn every single day, and I strive to be better every single day. And I try to give that to my team to deal with, like, so that they think like I do, because not everybody thinks that way. Everybody is kind of like, well, this is how I do it. This is what works for me. This is
that's not an acceptable response here either. Like, well, that's how we always did it. Okay, right. Then you've always did it wrong. That's okay. That's great.
Right.
Thanks for letting me know that it's consistently been done wrong, not just this time. I appreciate it.
And it's on the table, right? You put it out on the table. If you have a better idea for us, please tell us, because we're here to listen. Because and that's the important. I don't know how many times I call you guys and you're like, Horvath, have you been drinking again? And I'm like, maybe. And then you're like, oh, you forgot to do this. And I'm like, oh, okay. But then I'll call you and say, this isn't working. And you're like, oh, let us look into it. And then next thing you know, you find out that is a problem. And, we've talked about that a million times together.
Yeah. And it works both ways too, right? Like there's a certain software tool that we will essentially no longer sell because we sold it to you and then it didn't work. So it doesn't mean I won't sell it, but I know the applications where it will and won't work now.
Yep.
And so it's a little more particular, right? But you have to actually like listen and not be like, hey, this doesn't work. And you'd be like, yeah, okay,
Don't even get me. Listen, we're supposed to be on rapid fire.
We're on rapid fire, Tyler.
Yeah,
we gotta come back. Well, you want to come back and talk about software?
Yeah, we can talk about software because
part 3.
It's coming out, and don't even get me another pet peeve. Write that one down, everybody.
We should, maybe when they make one that works, we'll do an episode talking about
they got one coming out.
How nice the new one is.
Don't worry, it's subscription based.
Oh, yeah,
and don't worry, it's going to do this because I found it on another website.
Oh, there we go.
Oh, here we go.
We don't even talk about software.
Let's do a rapid fire.
This is what happens. You should just get me riled up at the beginning of the show, like before we even start. Like you should just rile me up and then turn on the camera. There's just the hottest start of all time. The cameras just turn on and Horvath's already just pissed.
He's in full rant mode.
Podcast.
We're not even in here anymore. It's just him. He's just looking at the camera an hour straight, just talking.
Well, like the original video that made us start this podcast, where I'm just sitting in front of the camera, just ranting.
That's what he is.
Yeah, you guys are holding up cue cards behind me, just telling me what, just poking me.
It just starts with me. Buckle up. Here's episode 51. And then it just cuts. It's just over.
Here we go. We're going to talk about onyx and nesting. Here we go. Get started. Rock and roll.
Shout out.
I'm shotgunning a beer during that one.
All right. I have, whatever this is, 6 rapid fire questions. So hopefully this will give people an idea of if you're in a smaller shop or a shop that isn't doing a lot of work, to give you some ideas of volume and what you guys are doing. So first question is, what is the most wraps you've done in a week? I should say installed, not printed.
Oh, full wraps or I mean,
sure.
jobs in all general. I mean, there is times where we have eight people at the shop or that are working with us. So literally we've done 3 or 4 full wraps. But that doesn't include the trophy order, the T-shirt order, the embroidery. So I bet you if we did a full week, I bet you we've done 50 jobs in a week. Now that's full throttle.
Yeah,
that's hold on tight. Yeah.
We've talked about materials, so I'll just let you do your plug. Then it's not for me. What materials do you recommend for wraps?
Yeah, Avery Dennison, everything.
It's kind of on his shirt, Tyler.
Yeah.
It's HDFive Avery Dennison shirt.
We never said it, okay?
Yeah,
I'm just giving him... I'm trying to get my MDF funds from this one. This episode is sponsored by.
We have literally talked about everybody but Avery Dennison. Avery Dennison, one of my favorites. And the reason is for us, we can install faster with it. We have it down to a science for what we use it for. So using 1105 for certain things, 2105, 2903. We know if we're printing those type of things, it's already on the printers, ready to rock and roll.
Who originally told you about Avery Dennison that you should be using it because it's faster?
Wensco, the guy over
some
here
guy
in the
at Wensco.
Yes, some guy with a goofy hat on. No, but I can't thank you enough because even when we talk to race car drivers about it, like people we send our wraps to, they're like, your stuff is so much easier to install because of we're sending them what they need to use.
Yeah.
We're not sending them thick vinyl for wrapping around curves. We're sending them the proper vinyl.
Yeah.
We're on time. You know, that's a big thing with this industry is like, you're going to do it the way I would do it for me. Otherwise you're not going to do it. I'm not sending you cheap vinyl we try to do some stuff like that. And then all of a sudden our install times are down by an hour. Well, when you do 250 race cars a year, 1 hour is a lot.
Yeah.
Like that adds up quick. So, Avery Dennison, I do use some Arlon. We do use 3M, but like for us and for what we need, Avery has everything that we use at the shop. So, we truly enjoy the consistency of it.
Yeah. If we run out of stock, which we shouldn't, of 1105 or 2105, Wensco West is usually pretty well stocked up.
Yeah.
So if we needed to, we probably could get one over there.
Yeah. Yeah. The whole, both under rollover tables. Like if I walk in and they're empty, I'm upset.
That was his joke. That was his joke during COVID was he said, yeah, if you need anything, he said, Wensco West is pretty stocked up. He said the price is pretty high over there though. So we're trying not to use it.
Yeah.
But
I understand what it's like when they send Ron, or I used to send Ron in here, you know, I understand it.
What is the hardest thing or vehicle you've had wrap?
Oh, the hardest. We had to do this trade show. It was for like a technology trade show, and it was like this orb, and it was literally like if you could picture, you know, like those cars that you would sit in the center of them and the wheel would spin. Like that's what this thing looked like, and we had to do it in one piece. And so
big old circle.
Yeah. And I think it was 8 foot tall. So you had to go from the bottom and wrap it all the way up and over and do it in one piece. They wanted no seam.
That's a fun one.
That's when I hated engineers because I go, whoever engineered this thing was an idiot. Like told it straight horrible. To them. Yeah. It was wild.
Favorite wrap tool?
You guys don't carry it. You're probably going to carry it soon. My buddy from SRX, when we did all the SRX cars, Nicholas, he was their lead installer, and then they hired us to come and wrap those cars with them. He invented this thing called a Tankagon, and he 3D printed it. We have all the samples at HDFive right now. They're working on some licensing stuff, and he's about to release it. It's a sleeve for your torches, and you can lay it on the car and it keeps the nozzle off the car. So, and it doesn't scratch your vinyl. Super awesome tool. He just sent them up to us, and like, it's been a game changer for speed because you're not trying to set your tank down because it doesn't damage anymore. You can set the tank down. You can set it on its side. It doesn't roll off the car. It doesn't scratch the car. Super awesome. I'll make sure that I get you guys a link for them. You guys need to start carrying them because ever since we got that tool, it has been top notch.
There you go. Something new. What's the best advice you've ever received for wraps or your business?
I think we already mentioned it, but I believe it was in a wrap class here with Chad, and Chad said, my job isn't to put your wrap on the fastest. My job is to make sure your wrap lasts the longest. And that is very true. Being able to have inlays in there and make them look good to have, you don't need to one piece everything. Everything this is not a paint. This is a wrap. And I think that is something that even when we do race cars, like we learn so much when we put them on because we want to apply that to our fleet graphics. So being able to put stuff on and make sure that it lasts and everybody's happy through a season of racing where guys are running into each other and, the whole 9 yards, like that resonated really highly with me of like, this is the way you do it. And, for business, I've had a lot of friends tell me is make sure that you are pricing yourself where you're going, not where you're at, due to the fact that you strive to be better every single day and do it right the first time, every time. Don't let somebody else tell you how to do it, because if you're doing it right every single time, those people will never leave you.
Here we go. I'm going to change this last question just because we talked about it. So we talked about TikTok, YouTube Shorts, all those people where it's these not great installers showing other people how to install wraps. Is there anybody you think that is currently on any of those platforms who you think is actually putting out good content?
As this evolves and changes, I do have to say that, like, to be honest with you, you guys have been trying to do different videos of trying to help people see your machines, see your stuff. And I've been drifting away from the guys who are putting stuff out and looking at the companies that are putting stuff out. And once I started looking at that, I started seeing, like, opening my eyes, like, you guys are here to sell a product, but on top of that, you're here to educate us on a product. And I really found that when I started following the companies that were interested in educating me, I found that I was getting better information. So that's what I've been switching to, is instead of the influencer, I've been going to the companies. Now, don't get me wrong. I have found some companies that I'm like, shout out. Like, I'm going to tell you, there's some guys out there that I'm like, you out and look it up. He's got the best everything. You can beep that out if you want.
If you, the first question we asked on this podcast, that's actually how it started. He said, "Have you seen this video?" And then they showed me like 5 of them. And then he talked for like 30 minutes after that. It was all about this guy.
Every single thing they have, they're like, you want to know what UV printers means? It means they're the best printers in the industry. I'm like, that's not what it means. literally how this conversation started.
Listen, you guys should put out some videos that are like the mock of those, like, because you did an awesome impression right there.
I'm going to tell you right now, it has been thought of, and we are building a desk at HDFive right now just for social media, like our social media stuff. And you're going to be impressed with some of the videos that we're going to come out with. I
mean, I love, like I've said it before, like the old Coke Pepsi ads are the ones we remember when Coke would make fun of Pepsi and Pepsi would make fun of Coke.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it was all in good fun even then. And like, we like the same thing here. Like,
did you see?
Like, I'm still mad about that regional. We're going to redo our opening of that box with that girl from regional with the tattoo sleeve. She looked way tougher than me in her video. And we have to change that. Like, there's no way that I have that girl looking tougher than me. I'm bringing a chainsaw in or something to open that box.
They just brought out, I just seen an old school video, old Coke and Pepsi commercial. And it was like when Pepsi dropped their prices and Coke was still high. So they literally did a commercial, and it was a little kid at the pop machine, and he buys 2 Coca-Colas, sets them down, stands on top of them so that he can reach the Pepsi button.
That's the one we talked about on this podcast before. Like, that's my favorite commercial.
Like, it's by far the coolest thing I ever seen. And it's like marketing 101 right there. That is marketing. And if you want to be that person, Coca-Cola knows that they got to come back with something better. Yeah. We ain't saying anything bad about anybody's company because we're all in the same industry. Yep. We're 100% just saying, do it better, be better for this industry, because for this industry feeds all of us at this table. And that's 100%. That's what I want out of it.
Yeah, that's why I said I love it when they, like, it was regional. They obviously knew who I was. They sent the video and they sent little comments with it. But yeah, they had, because we sent like a little switchblade, like, Tyler, use the switchblade. Open the box. Hey, sweet, you knew United. We call regional. Hey, send us a video. They sent us a video. She's got this like Crocodile Dundee knife and basically told them to have Mike get a real knife. And she just looks tough as can be. She's like, it just made me look like garbage. So now we're definitely bringing a chainsaw in or something.
I got a Christmas gift, and in the Christmas card it said you don't even have to return the overalls, and they dropped off overalls, hat, and a case of Coors Light. So all off from your guys' video.
We talked about this on another episode about how there's a certain competitor who is not only just watching our videos, they're going through the comments of our videos to find customers to go after. Just so you know, it's not working. You can keep trying though if you want.
Yep.
So
keep giving it a shot. I'm thinking we're going to have a new promo that's going to have a lot to do with that sticker that's right there. So we're going to have a new promo that we're going to give the customers that's going to come out pretty soon that will have everything to do with anti-grimace.
Keep watching. I love it.
It's $100 Wensco credit if you give me proof that one of the sales reps gets those stickers. And the best part is we'll never have to pay it out because there'll be no reps that go into the shops. There's no shot. There's no shot they see any of the reps.
I love it. I tell you what, you guys, I just had a company want a replica trophy. I won't even send it. Like, I'm very protective of what we do because we all know that out there right now, it's easy to knock people off. Like, and there's no repercussion of it. Like, it's here you go. We knock you off and you can't do anything about it. Well, I did somebody knocked me off and I put it out there and all of a sudden I was the bad guy. And it was like, well, you're not understanding what I'm saying, but like that knocking off, you're so far behind me. I mean, we're talking about printers and laminators and stuff. Like, we've been having conversations for the last year on the printer that was just released 2 days ago, like we've been in talks way before. And like other people are looking at that stuff going, oh, there's a new printer. It's like, we've been helping them. Like, there's a reason why they've released this new printer and there's a race car involved on it. And I'm pretty sure that it's probably a conversation that I had with them.
Well, we thought it was great when we go to a trade show and the company that's way bigger than us, are using our sticker. I mean, it was our design, our sticker. And like, you go to the printer, they are printing our exact sticker. And it wasn't a clip art sticker either. It was, they had to have designed it just like our sticker. And it's like, for us, we're like, we're not mad about it all. We're like,
Obviously
they're really paying attention to us because they even use the same sticker we're using.
You won't believe how many people bring him those big hats from here on out. You know how many people are giving.
You know what else we need? You need to build us a trophy right here for like #1 podcast.
#1. Oh yeah.
Yeah, we need a #1 podcast trophy right here.
What were we nominated for the #1? Like what?
Oh, we were self-proclaimed.
Oh, self-proclaimed.
It's the same thing. I'm permanent employee of the month. I'm permanent employee of the month here at Wensco.
We'll wrap it up. But the thing we have
a Wensco employee of the month at our shop.
It's going to show whoever does the worst job. If you're listening to this and you want to nominate one of your employees, we'll check your order history. If you ordered the same kit 4 times in a row, they can win. We'll put it out for you. But yeah, we just made a new trade show backdrop, and it says it's the same one we had before. So it says like Wensco since 1937, and it says voted #1 sign supply distributor, and then in small font under it says by the Slightly Serious Sign Podcast. So it's nice. It's self-proclaimed.
Nice,
but I think it counts. Yeah. We said it, so Wensco's #1. So technically, I said it, which makes it true. It's not
once
false
you put it on the internet. It's
all
real.
true.
Yeah. It's real.
It's real.
All right, we got to wrap up. We went way too long. Nobody's listening at this point.
Maybe. Yeah. If you're still listening at this point, thanks for tuning in.
Yeah.
Don Long is still here. He'll leave a comment that says, yes, I was still listening at, it says 71 minutes on there, but we're probably at like 70 minutes actually.
Well, they missed the best parts of the Wensco.
That's true.
Sign Supply employee of the month.
Yeah, that's also true. What do we need to beep out after like the 50-minute mark? Who's still listening at that point?
Yeah.
Well, I truly appreciate you guys. Like, what you guys are doing, keep doing it. Like, we've talked plenty of times. We love coming over here. I'll tell Gavin he's up next. He's super excited, I'm sure. And
send him in. We'd like to talk about, we'll go a little off the sign industry, but we want to talk about what's it like to be a 20-year-old?
Yeah, in the industry, just starting out, So, no, thank you guys. Keep doing what you're doing. We're damn proud to be a part of Wensco and your guys' family. And we hope that HD5 and our family keeps growing and keeps sending people in to stand at the front counter and buy more vinyl.
Yeah.
Sounds good to me.
So,
well, thanks for listening, guys. We appreciate it. And we'll see you in the next episode. So,
Thank you.
Bye.